Hi there, my name is Lindsay Hilscher, and we're going to go over headstand in the middle of the room today. Step one is setting up your upper back and your shoulders to support you. Eventually, our head goes on the floor and holds some weight, but we want to be able to control the amount of weight that's going onto the top of our head so we don't compromise our neck. And to do that, we need strong shoulders and a strong upper back. So I'm going to start. Elbows no wider than my shoulders. If my elbows go too wide, then my arm bones don't fit into the shoulder socket properly. So I want my shoulders to just sort of snuggle up and into their sockets. I'm going to clasp my hands together in a tight fist. From there, I'm going to come into a downward dog shape. My head is off the floor. So just watch how I can move my head clearly all the way around my arms. I'm going to let the head dangle away from the floor with the chin down so that I'm not taking an arch in my neck or my upper back, but my head drops down as if I were going to eventually touch it to the floor. If you can walk your feet a little bit further forward, go ahead. So you want to hold this position for at least 20 breaths. If you're comfortable doing that position for 20 breaths, then you can move on to the next step. It might take you a week of doing it every day. It might take you several weeks of doing it every day. As soon as you feel good in that position, you're going to move on to this step. Now my head goes on the floor. I clasp my hands so there's a tight web in my fingers, but I open my palm. So there's a little bowl there for the top of my head. I'm going to take that down to the floor and adjust my elbows so they're no wider than my shoulders. My head fits right into that bowl, and I'm a little bit behind my hairline on the floor on my head. I'm going to come into the down dog position and just see how that feels. Feel your upper arm bones fit into your shoulder sockets. Feel your head pressing down. If you have pressure in your neck here, you need to make an adjustment either with where your head is on the floor or the strength of your shoulders. So that would be the next step, is being comfortable there with the head on the floor. We're going to start to take the feet off now. So there's a little bit of flexibility that I need to have in my shoulders as well as my hamstrings. If my hamstrings are long, I'm going to be able to shift my weight forward over my head with less of a problem than as if my hamstrings are tight and I can't walk in very far. Regardless, the big thing here is strength in your spine once you're upside down. So fingers are tightly linked, my palm is open, my elbows are no wider than my shoulders, and I put my head down just inside my hands. Walk my feet forward and I'm here. If I feel good, I'm going to bring one knee into my chest. I might have to take a little hop, or I might be able to just shift, but I'm going to pull the other knee to my chest. And the cool thing about this shape is that if I start to lose my balance, I just bring my feet to the floor. If you start to take your legs overhead or up into the air too quickly and the spine's not strong enough, you're going to fall, and that's not going to be fun, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to try to come into it and out of it a couple of times. Once I've mastered coming into that little egg shape, then I'm ready to take the legs all the way up. So I'm going to show you that egg shape again. Clasp my hands, I put my head inside my hands, I straighten my legs. I'm going to do the other side this time. One knee into my chest, the other knee into my chest. From here, I'm going to hold, come down. Try it again. One knee, the other knee. Hold, and down, okay? Once you can hold and get into that egg shape comfortably, then you can start to take your legs up. I'm going to work with both legs staying together as I bring them up overhead, rather than doing one leg and then the other. So, set up your arms, set up your head. Make your way into your little egg shape. Feel stable there before you go forward. Don't rush it. Both legs together. I'm going to watch how my hips unwind. I kind of press my legs a little bit back into my glutes.
Legs press back into the back feeling of my legs so that I'm not here in this hinged shape. I want to try to lengthen through the front of my hip as much as possible. Shoulders out of your ears. Pressure through your elbows. And then you're going to come down the same way that you came up. See if you can hit that egg shape on the way down. We're not going to just crash down. And then rest in a child's pose at the end. So you want to think of coming into the posture, being in the posture, and coming out of the posture. So I'll show you eventually what you're going to be working towards. If I'm comfortable getting into the egg shape, holding headstand, I'm going to try 2 straight legs coming up together. Finding myself straight up and down. Pressure through my elbows, strong through my upper back. You want to hold here for at least 10 breaths. Eventually, you might be able to hold for a full 5 minutes. And then I'm going to come down the exact same way that I came up. Legs stay straight. There's a lifting feeling through my hips. And I'm going to rest in a child's pose. And you want to rest in a child's pose for at least 5 breaths after a headstand before sitting up. Because in yoga, we don't want to do anything drastic. So this headstand practice, take your time with it. You might spend several weeks at one of these steps that I described, but this is going to set you up to do it in the middle of the room where you don't rely on a wall, okay? Doing a headstand is so good for so many parts of our body. It's good for our shoulders and making them strong. It's good for our spine and strengthening the neck. It's also a very anti-aging type posture in that we're reversing the way that gravity is pressing on us. So it's good for tired and heavy legs. It's good if you just kind of feel a little bit like sluggish, you know, like, oh my gosh, the weight of the world is pushing down on me. Flip it upside down, do a headstand, and you kind of like push back against that weight of gravity, which is really nice. It's good for taking the weight off of the organs in the abdominal cavity. It gives a little bit of relief if you have any digestive distress. I wouldn't do headstand on a full stomach. But if you kind of feel a little bit of discomfort at any point, you might come into a headstand to help that. But we have to work for it, and we have to work in order to get the benefits of staying in a headstand for a nice long time. Give yourself that time. Give yourself a month. Give yourself 2 months to figure it out and get really strong there, and then keep playing with it.